Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Ugly Truth with Tommy Bottoms. With my homeboy Shelly Winter.
But we're here with Pastor Tony Smith and also Pastor Alexander Bostic, Minister Alexander Bostic. We'll get the differentiation soon on that. But we're gonna be talking about we won't talk about what they talking about. But I want to say for the record. A couple years ago, many of you know I used to be on 1380 WAOK, and I interviewed Pastor Smith back then. And I was I would have taken a bullet for Barack Obama in 2007 and 2008. Now I've been giving him about a C plus grade over the last first term. I gave him probably ending a C plus grade over the first term. And but I got to say for the record, I think you were more right than I was in all your criticisms early on before the election. So I say that to everybody that, and I seldom tell anybody that they were right on something. so please understand what a huge deal that is, Pastor Smith. But welcome to the show. Before we begin, tell people where they can hear you guys once a week on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, well, we have a radio show on www.blogtalkradio.com/WTLK every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We come on, we talk about issues and how certain issues affect your everyday living, especially with how it lines up with the Bible. Because a lot of topics people don't discuss. You know, they may talk about racism, they may talk about relationships, but we always try to give it a biblical spin to it to see how it can correlate together.
All right, cool.
So that's every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday at what time?
At 6:30 p.m.
Awesome. Well, first question I have for you guys: we live in a city. We live in a city that's the Bible Belt, part of the Bible Belt, and you can find a church on every corner in our community. As pastors and ministers, you look at that fact that we have a very religious community, African American. As a matter of fact, on our way here, there was an article on our favorite website, Drudge Report, that talked about 27% of Americans believe that God has a say in sporting events. But when it went to non-white Christians, which is us and Hispanics pretty much, it's 40% believe that. And evangelical whites, 38% believe that. And it was different by region. It was only almost 28% in the South, but it dropped to like 15% in the Northeast, and the Midwest was somewhere in between. So I say all of that to say this is a very religious geographical area, but then it's also we're a very religious and spiritual people. However, when you look at what's going on in our community, is it the religion that's kind of brought us where we are, or lack thereof? But it can't be lack thereof because we are a spiritual people. But we have all these problems. You would think that all the praying we've done over our history in this country, we should be the richest people in the world if you believe God does what he says. So talk to us about that.
Well, I guess kind of on that end is looking at the South being a religious type setting as far as a place. Most of what you'll find is a more slave type indoctrination that we receive from our oppressor, the slave master. Of course, it's going to be the Caucasian nation at that. And they've basically sold us a hype of religion or a prayer toward God, and we basically followed what they've given us as opposed to trying to examine and finding for ourselves. And in our praying, in order to get results, is knowing who you're talking to and what are you looking at, what exactly you're looking for a response, and what is it that he requires in order to get an answer. A lot of our afflictions that we've suffered here through our praying and through our march, and even from the Civil Rights March, has never availed to us ever advancing. It's only really put us in a deeper detriment, because the things that we really tried to succeed in is trying to be equal to our oppressor versus trying to be free from our oppressor. And that in turn has hindered us even from the religion of Christianity as a whole, taking it, saying it's a biblical fact being Christian, when we've learned more now that being Christian is basically something we follow from their indoctrination with Constantine. These same people that say they're Christians are people that own slaves, hung babies, threw free people over ships, invaded lands, even America, and now the people that did it are heroes. These people come along here, historian, and they kind of put these people on platforms, and now it makes us feel inferior. The reason why we haven't ever advanced as a people is simply because we hadn't really known God. We've only known what they've told us. You know, everything that we basically learn, we learn from somebody you kind of take on, attach yourself to, and that in turn has come along and more or less have crippled us because we felt we had to be equal or equivalent to our oppressor in order to be accepted.
An equal or equivalent to our oppressor is kind of a illogical thought.
Yeah,
from the outset.
I agree.
It's an argument that you can't really see. It's not a logical argument. Someone's got his foot on your neck and you're striving to be equal to him. It's kind of stupid.
I agree. I agree. You know, I'm being raped and I want to be equal to the raper, which means I in turn will go out and I will rape.
Rape, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's basically how, you know, we begin to kind of really look at where our real detriment has come in, you know, for us. And now they, you know, of course, they incorporate God when it's to their availability. When they want to pledge allegiance to the flag, is God.
Right.
You know, there's the doing us right, you know, no God. When we getting shot by the police, getting ran over, there's no God. When it's white kids in Cincinnati or Connecticut in a high school, whatever, get rid of guns, it's God. We need God now, you know.
Right.
But when we getting gunned down or slain or whatever, it's no God.
Now that's an interesting point because we had 500 murders in Chicago. Yeah. That's just one city.
Yeah.
New York had the lowest murder rate in 20 years, and it was 4 something, and that was to be celebrated.
Yeah.
400 and something bodies, and that was celebrated because it was the lowest in 20 years. So in 2 cities, you got 900 dead, and not including Atlanta, you know, L.A., Oakland, you know, all these different places. You don't include those numbers. We have all of that murder going on, and no one's saying anything. You know, no one's talking about it. We're caught up in a presidential race. All our news outlets are talking. The news outlets that cover the news are talking about the presidential race and how Republicans are racist. And outlets that cover gossip are talking about Nene Leakes and how great she is to the black community. And in between, all these people are getting gunned down. But then Newtown happens, and you see African American. I saw Barbara Lee on the news last night, CNN, talking about gun control. Like, well, where were you whole last year? Well, you know, address that, Pastor Smith.
Well, again, you know, it's a matter of they teach us and they kind of more or less program us on what to react for. And a lot of when you find out people coming out, and of course it's a tragedy, any race of people being murdered. I don't, you know, want to seem as though I'm against whites or whatever. That's not my agenda. I'm not anti-white. I'm anti-wrong. You know, if it's the Hispanic nation doing it to us, the Asian nation, or our own nation, it's just wrong. It's just the fact that a lot of time we'll come out and we'll put a lot more precedence on a situation in order to try to show our oppressor that we care as you care. I think our history of slavery has shown that already. You can't find any more caring people. There's nobody, if his oppressor house is on fire, put it out. There's nobody until you won't find the Mexican nation when they were being invaded. They were talking about remember the Alamo, and they would come and help them fight to take their own country from them. Right. We're the only people that's gonna go in, put on uniforms over the oppressor, pray, you know, pledge allegiance to the oppressor flag, and shoot down people that look like us.
Right. On a regular.
We live to do that. So I think when you see our people come out, and even our, you know, so-called now great civil rights marchers now, you know, they'll come out and try to, you know, jump on Axel, trying to show white homosexuals that they have the same oppression as people that's born with a skin color when they take on a situation that's basically a choice. You make a choice whether you want to be gay. You make a choice whether you want to rape or whether you want to pay for sex or whether you want to date or marry. So all these are choices. You don't have a choice in whether you're black or white.
So that being said, what is the let's look at this. Let's look at 2 issues that are out right now, or 1 issue that's out right now. Last night, as we talked, you talked about it a little bit on your show last night, gays being allowed in the Boy Scouts. I guess it would be gay kids, and then but the big
scout
thing,
leaders.
But the thing is, the scout leader part is a part that bothers me. If you believe your son is gay or your son comes out, because Boy Scouts are 9, 10, 11 years old. I don't believe any child knows at that age. Very few know at that age what kind of sexual partners they want. I believe. I'm no psychiatrist, but I mean, I have seen little kids that are effeminate, but they weren't born that way. It's probably the way their mother's raising them. But so the gay Boy Scout, that's one thing. But to allow gay Scout Masters is another thing. So that just came out. That's Real World. And then, like you said, we got civil rights leaders and ministers and people talking about how gays should have same rights as regular people. But my question to you is, where does the Bible and this issue line up, or do they line up? And if they don't line up, how do we, as African Americans, line them up or not?
I think in our community, it's time for us to really kind of redefine ourselves. We've been basically looking for our definition that came from our oppressor to say whether we're successful, whether we're intelligent, whether we're acceptable, and in that happening, it's basically come along as crippled us. I think it's time for us to kind of come back and redefine ourselves. Years ago, we would refer to ourselves. The first time I did your show, I bought into the hyper-Christianity, not really in depth, looking at it or kind of really considering.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean, hold that thought that you were on. Okay. You just said when I bought into the hyper-Christianity, but you're a pastor.
I'm a pastor.
So explain that for our listeners, and kind of remember where you were going with the original question, but I had to stop you right there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Well, basically, when you look at pastor, these are biblical titles: pastors, bishop, elders, apostle. These are biblical evangelists. A lot of the things that we bought from them and from society, the Catholicism, is basically every one of these religions controlled through Catholicism. They all take something from it, shapeshift from it. At one time, we said we were Christian because it's in the Bible, but they weren't actually calling themselves Christian. They were called Christian. It was a form of mimicking them because they followed Christ, which for Greeks were called Christos. So calling them Christians were trying to mimic them, saying these people follow Christ. That wasn't a name. They were Jews.
Right.
We're Jews. When you read the Bible, you can find in depth just in the 28th chapter, book of Deuteronomy, verse 63 down. You'll see what Moses prescribed when we were going to leave Jerusalem, our homeland. We were going to leave as ships and be sold as slaves, and there our life were going to hang in doubt. The only people that meet this criteria is us. The white European oppressors that are there now, we call them Jewish. Like if you seen a little boy, you say he was mannish. You're not saying he was a man. He should and demonstrate some behaviors that an older, mature person does. Well, that's what they did. They learned our way. The Bible even shows where our people were exiled out and there were people brought in and they were taught our ways by us, like our inventions. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, but a black man invented longevity. We gave him the red light, the cotton gin. Now who's responsible for it? They're not putting our faces on it. But once they learn our inventions and learn our religion, our compassion, then they come back and give it to us. We farm their lands. Now if you look now, the majority of people that are farmers are Caucasians. John Deere tractor, they don't have a tractor with a black man face on it. So they always take from us in a form, they come back and give it to us and say, I'm teaching you now. You learn from me.
So when you say, when you say you're a pastor and it's a title from the Bible, what religion, quote unquote, do you guys preach?
We're
like
Jews.
If I came to your church, what would I hear?
You will hear we're Jews. We teach our people we're Jews. The Lord Jesus.
So would it be Hebrew Israelites?
We're Hebrews and we're Israelites.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's all. The Jews are just a tribe that a couple of families that were broke off from the rest of Israel. The Most High God separated Israel after Solomon, his son, had messed up with sleeping with all these different nations of women. He separated Israel. He broke them down because David was promised that there would be a man that would always sit on the throne. Had he kept the tribes together, it would always switch out somebody from Dan, somebody from Naphtali. All these were different tribes. So he separated Judah and Benjamin, part of Levi, so that David covenant he gave him, there would never fail a man to sit on the throne for the Jews, which would lead him up to the Lord Jesus. That's why we look at him as being king, because he follows his father David according to the flesh, being king. These religions come along now, they don't actually know. And their own Bible, what I'm telling you, is in the Bible. This ain't you go to school, learn it, I was taught it, I saw footnotes, this is all biblical. But they don't teach us that. Everything we receive, they give us. We read the Bible says he's a man of color, and we still put up a white picture.
Right.
I call him a pickle on the stick. Like I said, the blood done fell out of the man. They constantly keep giving us this way. But being a pastor is biblical. Being a bishop is a reverend is something that basically they just made up and they giving it to us and we just follow. We hadn't researched it. To me, this is what I'm going to call it.
So without placing a name, because I listen to 1380 every day, and there's certain groups out there that give what I would call that religious based thought, Hebrew Israelite, a very bad name.
I agree.
But listening to y'all or you and Pastor Bob, I'm like, wow, okay, shoot. I'm ready to go to church, but y'all meet on Saturdays. That's college football.
Well, that's a Saturday.
I'm just kidding. But I have but it's interesting because it seems to me like what you believe is kind of what, in my mind, I take in from my own life. Is that this book is a holy book. Yeah. There's a Torah, there's a Quran, all these holy books, I'm going to take in what they say. I'm not going to deviate from what they say. It's not a constitution. I can understand a constitution being a living document. If it says, militias in 1600s, well, you don't really need militias now, so maybe it's a living thing. But the Bible, to me, I can't see as a living thing. I think that what was written down then are rules that apply now. You don't do this, you don't do this, you don't eat this, you do this, and everything. If you follow that, you should have a good life. If you don't have a good life, then it's something you're not doing right. But you should have a good life, and even if there is no heaven or hell, you pretty much have lived a good life where you are, and you can go and die, and people will come to your funeral and they'll say that was a good man, which is kind of, at the end of the day, all life is all about. You kind of live it to, when you die, for people to say, man, that was a good guy. You know what I mean? You don't want anybody not in your funeral. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, at the end of the day, my biggest fear in life is
by yourself.
not dying by myself, but dying and I'm in a casket and my mom is there, maybe, because I got to go before her, because I can't stand up, be without my mom. But yeah, no, she's the only one, and she's looking around like, damn, I thought Shelly had all these friends. And I can hear her now. I told him, them niggas didn't care about him. You know what I mean? My mom right there sitting there yelling. But I got a question from my chat room. Sonny says, where was Jesus from the age of 12 to 20?
There is no biblical record. If he'll read in the 21st chapter of the book of St. John, probably down, I think the 20th chapter, probably down about verse 33 or so, it'll tell him that truly, many other things truly did Jesus in the sight of his disciples that are not written in this book. He said, but these are written that you might believe. The Bible does not describe when he went to the restroom, but the Bible says he grew up as any other man. The Bible basically gives us pinpoints on issues that are necessity for us as far as us looking at salvation. A lot of things that he did that necessarily work to salvation. A lot of times people, not saying that particular person in the chat room, but a lot of times the things that people want to know doesn't really have a lot to do based on their salvation. Like people say, well, I want to know what happened before the world started. Well, if you do, how's it going to change your living?
Right.
You said that from 12 to 20, Jesus lived like any other man.
Past that, I mean, even 33 lived like, he just had the spirit of the Most High God.
Well, in that 12 to 20 that's not documented, is it possible that he may have been like literally like any other man, like
sinning?
Sinning, yeah.
No, we won't believe that, because the purpose of him coming was to save his people from their sin. And that would kind of come and kind of defer us away from the situation, what he came to do, to teach us to not sin.
But just for argument's sake, because it's a radio show, wouldn't a man have to sin to know what sin is?
No, not necessarily. Well, you got to look at the type of man that he was. The Bible teaches in the 2nd chapter of the book of Hebrew, and I try to quote so people can see verses. I heard a preacher say in the 2nd chapter about the Hebrews, probably about verse 12, said, for much then as the children were partakers of flesh and blood, he himself also took part of the same. He took on a part of man. He was both human and divine. Coming through the Virgin Mary gave him the genealogy to David, gave him the connection to man, but coming and being begotten by the Spirit gave him the connection of being God.
Someone here, Dr. Neil says Jesus was not knocking no boots.
No.
But when you read the Bible, my limited knowledge of the Bible, he did have an unusual relationship with women in the Bible. Mary Magdalene, his own mom. I mean, he had strong. It seems to me, what I can read, strong feelings for women and a very large respect for women. Does that mean that he did not partake in
we believe that we believe strictly from biblical, and then a lot of what you believe from the Bible is based upon faith. Following our father Abraham, whom we credit as the father looking as begot or start or something, who got a relationship with God simply because his belief in God. When God commanded him to do something, he did it. He believed it, and the Most High God caused it to come to pass. So we believe by faith in what's written that he did not partake in those particular things.
Gotcha. Let's skip over to continue your answer on gays in the Boy Scouts, and if it biblically lines up.
It biblically lines up that you see the people contrary to the word. But if we kept the Bible basis and what we were actually supposed to say, even when these people founded it, the United States, they took from our Bible, which is our constitution, in the sense of what you were saying, and it basically, they use those laws. The 7-year debt they still use from the Bible. The Bible teaches
What's
that
the 7 years debt?
Well, after 7 years you forgive debt. That's where they learn that from. In 7 years, as Jews and Hebrews, we learn after 7 years you owe me something. After that, we cancel that debt. You ain't paid it, you don't owe it. We good.
And that's where bankruptcy laws come from.
That's where they got it from the Bible. All these laws, they got adultery. That comes from the Bible. It used to be, and it's still on the books, it's against the law to commit adultery or fornication. But they learned that from the Bible. Being gays, having gays was from the Bible, that it condemned it. It was such a strong behavior, condemned it. It was worthy of death, as with adultery. But you got to look over the course of time when people do it out of hypocrisy. It's not a thing of the heart. It's easy to start fraying when they find their kids were gay. They found themselves, and just like you find pastors, they'll preach against it, but once they find their kids gay, then they'll say, we need to be more compassionate. Jesus is about love. The word doesn't change. It don't mean we hate them. We have to hate the behavior, and we dissociate ourselves because we want to show a shame in what you're doing versus we're going to keep hanging with you, keep loving. It doesn't change anything. It makes you feel better like a crackhead. They might say, love them. Some of y'all do tough love with them. Right. So if we kept the Bible standard, a lot of this wouldn't happen. And you look now, it's become an issue where our men are standing up now, and we're being showed now we're predominantly the homosexual in society, which is a total lie. Exactly. We make up 12% of the total population, right, which would put us about 6% men, 6% women. Now we got to break that down because we got kids. Right. How in the world can 3% of the nation come up to be 80% of the homosexual? Right. So you can take a pen and paper and make numbers. So when it's their people, now we come in and we want to be like our oppressor. He taught us monkey see, monkey do. That referred to us. So if he's gay, we follow. If he does it, it's right. So we start kind of introducing it. It's interesting.
I was at the Trumpet Awards Saturday, and the guy, Derek J. guy that wears the high heels on that Real Housewives, was walking through the lobby when I was leaving, and it was interesting the reaction that he was getting from younger women. It was, can I take your picture? Look at you, you go girl, all this stuff to a man with heels on. To the older women, they were ready to beat him down in that lobby. And then I was watching, flipping by, don't watch it, I was flipping, and I saw the show on I think Sunday, and they got the girl in a restaurant talking to another homo who's got lipstick and nail polish on. And they're showing you his nails. Like as they're talking, they cut to the nails to show you not only does he have lipstick on, he's got nail polish on. And I'm sitting there, and here's this black man sitting up there with lipstick on. And as you see that imagery, it's one is coonish to put on makeup like that. But secondly, it's so many negative things coming out of that. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that we as a people are lost? And are we lost because of our movement away from the Bible? But obviously I went earlier, we're most religious people, spiritual people. So is it because we've been taught the wrong things? Are we a lost people, and can we find our way back?
I totally agree with that statement. We are lost people. What you're saying, our spirituality, that is true. That's why we have forgiveness. We're the only people that can forgive his oppressor, even with the American Indian. Well, we call him Native. They gave him American. He still is fighting for rights. The people don't even know he still is in a fight where he's fighting to get rid of Columbus Day. Because when Columbus and them came over, they savagely killed these people. They're not letting it go. We're the only people that was taken that's still going to sit here. We're going to put on his flag. We're going to worship this man. We're going to follow. We want to live in his community. We want to buy his cars. We want to shop in his stores. We want to live in his community. So, we have a forgiveness, and that is a biblical principle, religious principle. It's just a matter of fact of learning how to challenge it first, learn how to forgive ourselves. And that's going to come in with knowing ourselves. Our rappers are detrimental to us. Our athletes are detrimental to us. And now the mere fact that you show us this homosexual image at all times, you kind of leave our kids no outers. They can say, well, I don't make your kids do it, but you basically put us in such a maze. The only way out is one of these avenues. They don't see any type of real characters coming from our people to give them a better walk. Even with our president, here we show a black man with a wife, family, and his biggest agenda is, I got to get a gay on the Supreme Court. I got to get gays the right to marry. I got to get gays where they can adopt kids. And this is a bad image. For us, highest seat of a man of color of hell, of course we're going to tell our kids, look at him. He made it. Yet, he's one that escaped, and every issue he fight for, none of them are for people of color.
Tommy had said yesterday we can't expect him to come out with an agenda that says, "Hey, this is for black people." I understand that question.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But what I said was that there is no black agenda for him to come out and address. You know what I'm saying? There's no.
We haven't given him one.
We haven't given him
one. Before we go to politics, we have a question from Too Meek. Says, what about Islam? Arab Muslims enslaved blacks too.
Well, that's why I'm not a Muslim. Muslim is another break-off religion, basically how people being oppressed with as well. I don't believe in it. There was 2 sons that came from Abraham, Ishmael being one, and they believe Muhammad was his cousin. Their Quran actually contradicts what we believe. If we believe his prophecy is to disbelieve the Bible, either we take one truth or another. So you can't have you both on both ends and say you still believe. He believes that the Most High God appeared to him in Mecca by the angel Gabriel and gave him another doctrine, which contradicts our book. Because I can show him in the 4th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy, about the 29th verse, the Bible said the Lord never even started to go get him another people. I say this so people can see it versus I heard someone say. That's been our problem. Someone say it versus what we read. And he said he never essayed, which means he said he never even started. He said there's never been a people ever heard the voice of the Lord and live. It never happened. Right. No, he never appeared. So if I believe their Bible, their book, I got to disbelieve what we read. So I'm agreeing the Arabs as well have enslaved us. It's always a fight. If you look everywhere our skin color people are at, we're being dominated, oppressed, being robbed for our riches. It never stopped because people are not crazy. The Asians, everybody are all in together to keep us oppressed. We'll dance, all this stuff we did. This is biblical. We always been an emotional people. We always been a forgiving people, except against ourselves.
We're childlike.
Yeah.
In many ways, we're childlike.
And guess what?
In a world filled with real, mean, logical, straightforward men and women who, pity the fool.
Yeah.
You got any questions? Want to go to Obama, President Obama. What does the Bible talk about him and his policies as they relate to America?
Well, I guess what he does for America is right, because America is not a God-fearing country. It's not a country that obeys, even fears God. So in that aspect, everything he's doing for America is right. What he's doing as far as basis for believing the Bible is just totally just fabulous. It's just off. He's nowhere even in line with it. He takes and chooses and picks what he wants. As he say, which we're going to take, cut off our hand now, or we're going to do this, or stone somebody. And when you say that, you kind of leave people dumbfounded. Even our book taught us when we had a king that he was supposed to take him a copy of the law, and he was supposed to read it. And he sets in position as a king, as equivalent to a king. He needs to know the laws of God so he know how to dictate and how to rule. And that he hadn't learned. He just learned it from a political standpoint.
If our president becomes that person that takes the laws from God and the Bible, what separates our country from a theocracy?
Well, I mean, there's some good that can be taken, because like I said before, their constitution was based off biblical principles, but they changed, just like you mentioned earlier about there was no need for militias. Even the so-called founding fathers in themselves had in there about militia. When you said there's no need, there is a need, because you wind up putting yourself on a dictatorship. They knew that the people need to stay armed. That way the government wouldn't become so powerful that they could turn and dominate the people. As opposed to them being a government by the people and for the people,
right.
We basically are for the government,
right,
and by the government. They dictate our behavior, they dictate our marriages, they dictate what's right and what's wrong, versus it was supposed to be a conglomerate of the people, and we put constituents in that would defend or represent our issues or our cause.
Too Meek is asking me a question, I guess. So why do so many blacks turn to Islam? I think I can answer that.
Yeah,
the reason why I think so many African Americans turn to Islam is because of what Pastor's been talking about Christianity. I grew up Presbyterian. We went to church all the time. I moved down here. I see for the first time in my life, Jesus is God. What was taught to me was Jesus was the Son of God. There was no other God but God, and then Jesus was the Son of God. I come down here and I hear people praying to Jesus, and talk and exclaim in Jesus' name. And then the first thing I think when I go into those churches, I think to myself, well, the first commandment is thou shalt not call anybody else but Lord your God, or however that term, that commandment is. So I'm like, so I think a lot of blacks turn to Islam because they see the faultiness in some of the Christian teachings as they are in the black community, or as they are in America. And I think they see Islam as a more freeing type religious thought. I think a lot of people see Islam as a religious following or a calling that is freer than Christianity. There's no hold on you, and I think a lot of them also turn to Islam because of the fact that this, like you said, your oppressor is Christian. Why would I become the same thing as the oppressor? Why would I believe the same thing? So that's the answer I would give to. Meek.
What you said was a lot true. I think the majority of blacks that turn to Islam because it would introduce us at a vulnerable time when we watched the people that said they were Christians, how they oppress us and beat us and whip us. And you had a man just like Elijah Muhammad. He wasn't the representative, but most blacks learned it from him, a man from down in South Georgia.
The Muslims.
Yeah, and he come along and he introduced that to them, and it showed them a different way. And a lot of it was out of rebellion, showing the oppressor, I'm not what you are.
Exactly.
And a lot of time you still wore his European suits. You still did a lot of things he did, and you learn his languages and other things. So it's still oppressed. It's not wrong to learn it. It's just a fact we've got to learn the truth for us and learn better about ourselves.
Let's go to not politics. But let's go to pastors here. What's going on with y'all? Not y'all. Not y'all. But I mean, simply say, what's happening? I got pastors that drive Bentleys. Passes with helicopters. I was watching this Wiley guy last night on AIB preparing for you guys coming in, and I happened to go to AIB and Wiley T. Jackson was on, and he's talking. Meanwhile, he's got some charges against him for ripping his people off. This guy and his brother started an investment firm without being taking the people's money.
Wiley's brother.
Gospel Tabernacle. But this guy's on there, and he's actually talking to people. And he's actually telling these people that I have to be here every day. I have no choice. I have to come here every day. If I'm sick, I still have to be in here. You guys can miss 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not a fair relationship. I need y'all here. And I'm saying to myself, dog, you picked a job. You know what I mean? It's like me saying, oh man, I got to be at this radio station every day. I can't believe y'all don't listen every day. Like I'm saying, like that's like who says that to people? And then he's talking about y'all can miss tithing 3 weeks, but I don't miss my note. The note comes every month. I'm like, it's your note. You know what I'm saying? It's your note. That's why you got to pay it. But tell us what's going on with these guys. I mean, what's happening? Why? Where did they come from?
Again, I basically look at these preachers, especially for the Atlanta preachers. Well, I say basically all of them. You'll find most of these guys are CIA operatives. They basically infiltrated these guys.
Whoa. Time out.
Illuminati gonna cut us off.
Yeah, watch out. Okay. See, we already have problems with the Jewish people and the Illuminati and the powers that be with our internet system. Okay. So when you say that, you got to say that slowly.
It needs to be said though.
Of course, we're not telling you to edit yourself. I'm just telling you to repeat it.
The internet will start messing up.
It's going to go out soon. It's in a couple of seconds. It's just going to blank out. But we need you to say that again, please, and tell us where that comes from, please.
When you look at these preachers from T.D. Jakes, Juanita Bynum, Creflo Dollar, Eddie Long, these are just a few of the scandalous preachers you got. A lot of these people are CIA operatives. People don't realize, even in Dr. King time, these people came along and paid people and used people, introduced people to get propaganda started. The CIA is world renowned for propaganda. That's how we overthrow country. We never go and invade a country if we don't come in with propaganda first.
Right.
We got to first get the people, intel in to turn the people against the government. Then we can come and invade. When the people stand united, it's hard to divide.
Right.
So we first come in, pro intel, get people talking, get people against them, rumors. After that, we got the people divide. We can walk in, we can divide. And they see our ways a better way until once we get them, they realize they really weren't that oppressed, like the people in Egypt now.
They're
total to meltdown.
Right.
Before, they were so Marat, whatever his name was.
Muslim Brotherhood is losing all control over there. All control.
Who we set up.
Right.
Just like Marat, we had them up. We paid them $5 billion a year to try to keep their come. Then we break them down. We get rid of. There's nobody he ever kept a friendship with. Anybody's in bed with this man, he comes, he gonna turn against you. And yet they use these preachers, and this is why Eddie Long was able to walk out this county and still, be silky clean, because these people are used to program our people. They program for politics. Their own government set up a system of there's a separation between church and state. How do you let politicians come in your pulpit and speak on politics? Yet when we say, hey, Mr. Government, we want you to do such and such, they say, well, there's a separation. Right. How do you come into church and ask us to come and vote? Because it's the hypocrisy. They put these guys up, they pay these guys, they allow these guys to get away with certain things, and they always keep something on you. So when you speak as I speak, they can't do it, even though they know things are wrong, because they're controlled by these people, and therefore they can't speak out. And eventually, like with Rumpelstiltskin, he'll spin your gold, but later on, they're going to come back and get your kids. And that's how their congregation, that's how they wind up falling. We take no government funding. We take no support from them. We keep a straight middle line of keeping a clean, separated life.
We, wow, there's a whole lot in there. Let's get off those guys.
Okay.
And let's go to Al Sharpton. Because I truly believe he's been trained since he was 13 years old. I mean, maybe not that young, but I believe in my heart of hearts that the evidence shows that this man is a trained government operative.
I agree.
What do you think of him as a pastor, if he can even be called such now?
Well, a pastor is somebody that has a congregational flock. You can't just be a pastor, you don't have any members. Like Minister Bobby, he's my assistant pastor, so he could be pastor because he assistant. He at my death or demise, or when they drop a pebble down and scramble my brain, he'll take the church over until they do the same to him. Right. So I tell my members all the time, it's just a matter of time. They got my dead, while I'm in here talking, I probably got a dead body on the back of my truck. I'll walk out, they'll yellow tape me and take me out. But that guy there, he's just like Jesse Jackson. These guys are being in.
But do you think? I mean, let me cut you off right there, because I saw Tommy sit forward, and Tommy may not ask this, but this is my little brother here, so I know what's going through his mind. Do you think that there is a that kind of thinking is kind of self-fulfilling? Like, do you think that government, like, in other words, do you think the government is really like us talking about the internet? We don't really think that's true, but do we really think because we're speaking the truth that the government is out to get us, or because we're speaking the truth and so many people are brainwashed, let them talk because nobody's really listening? Like Alex Jones, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's crazy, let him just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really think the government's going to come at you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Honestly, with Alex Jones, what messed him up as with Jesse Ventura, and I teach my members about that. Everything that I see on television or hear, or even news stories, I don't repeat. What their goal is, there's truth in what they say.
Right.
But if they can get you to speak and say so much, and you can't verify it, then eventually you just look like a conspiracy.
Crazy. Exactly.
So if you learn to kind of limit what it is you talk about, you say, then you keep a credibility. So that's what hurt us, because when they don't respond, they know if they kill me right now, whatever, it's gonna say, hey, he said, he predicted his own death, like with Osama bin Laden. He prophesied to tell the people, if the Americans came in and put Saul, they'll never leave. This is why he's so revered. They looking at, they can't ever wipe away this man's memory. Right. They was afraid of his death because that way they were going to immortalize him, which wound up happening because they knew he told the truth.
I watched a special on Vanguard, and they have, if you go to some parts of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the Middle East, and those countries, they have, like, we have T-shirts with Barack. They got T-shirts with Osama bin Laden, like real black and white, with Osama bin Laden on them. Like, he is, like you said, revered in that part of the world.
And I believe he was crazy. I mean, without a doubt. So I'm not a defender of him anyway.
Right.
But it's just a mere fact. You're another person like Omar Gaddafi. When you lay in bed with these people, they come back to get you. Osama bin Laden, what's the guy from Iraq that they wind up killing?
Saddam Hussein.
All these people on our payrolls. And then eventually they come back like I call him Rumpelstiltskin. Eventually he coming back. The gold looks good. The fame look good. Just like with Eddie Long, they do that to always keep you suppressed. You don't ever become your own man. Don't ever think you got your own limelight. You say, I'm here now. Just like
what role did I heard a couple years ago that this whole prosperity ministry came out of Benny Hinn. What is that true?
No, that prosperity ministry came from this black gentleman. What is his name? He used to say Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike taught a lot of that years ago. See, when a black man, he never gets the credit. He actually came along with that, buying prayer cloths, trace out your hand, write how much money you wanted, send it in the mail. All those guys, Jim Jones, the Moon Man, they all learned from him. So now when they take it over, it looks like everything just kind of came out from there. It was wrong when he did it. Right. But when they jumped out, all of a sudden they're the inventors of it.
So what is the role that the CIA wants to play assuming you're correct, I believe you. What is the purpose of having these ministers preach and control our people's minds? I sit there and I watch them. One of the biggest things I always say, this is kind of an aside, but one of the biggest things I always find amazing to me is when they all kind of say the same thing, and they'll start preaching and they'll go and they'll say word from. They'll start off by saying, "Listen to the word from the Lord." Now, if I said to you right now, our show is getting ready to start for the next hour, listen to the word from the Lord, I'm implying I am the Lord. Now, it's said as if I am the Lord, but it's defended because I'm getting ready to read from the Lord's book. And so that's how, but implying it, and subconsciously, I'm talking to you and I'm telling you the word from the Lord. I'm the one talking, so I got to be the Lord. And that's those little word tricks they play. 'Cause I watch them, and I sit there and I watch these women. There's more women. I mean, it's just all kinds of things. But I'm sorry, I got off the tangent there. But what is the purpose for the CIA to have done this?
Well, it's a matter of mind control. The easiest way to suppress the people is by religion. That's the most vulnerable person. Some people are not materialistic. Everybody got different things they might thrive or cling to. But religion is sacred to people. Even with gangs, there's a religious affiliation. You can find them either satanic with what they do. So they use that. I remember back in like 2003, 4 was coming back up for George Bush re-election. I had gotten a call from a gentleman from the Republican Party that asked me to endorse him. They told me they had watched me. I was on television a lot here in Atlanta, and they had and he explained to me how I was very influential. And a lot of blacks listen, and they wanted me to go out with them on a date. As far as a dinner date, it was to take me out to lunch, and they wanted me to endorse some white people. They wanted me to endorse George Bush. They wanted me to tell him that he was a Christian, that he prayed every day, that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and that they hadn't found them, but they were.
And this is for a fee, obviously.
Well, he told me that once we got there and we met, he said that we would talk. They want to know, what did I feel comfortable with?
Right.
They never on the phone. He never offered money or said.
Right.
He just said when we sat down and did the dinner date, that we want to find out what was I comfortable with. Creflo Dollar and Eddie Long
they
came
both
out
took
and
the
said
money.
They both said it.
Yeah.
They came out and said that Eddie Long said that he prayed for Saddam Hussein to be killed. Now I couldn't imagine that you say forgive.
Right.
How did you pray for a man to be
And you're
killed
a
that you don't even
Christian
know?
minister.
Yeah.
Right.
So they show you the hypocrisy.
I got one better than you. I'm listening to Al Sharpton's radio show before the election. He had the other reverend that we've had on the show, Markel Hutchins, who's a good friend of mine. They on the show together, and they're trumpeting, because they want people to re-elect Barack, they're trumpeting his foreign policy. And part of trumpeting his foreign policy was talking about he killed Muammar Gaddafi. He killed Osama bin Laden. I'm saying, but you two same ministers were down here in Georgia protesting the death penalty of Troy Davis, saying that the state should not kill people.
Yeah.
Here it is, you're trumpeting the deeds of a man that killed a man that, as Tommy would say, was never charged, was never read his rights, nothing. You just you murdered a man. But you, as a minister, two ministers, you're on a radio station telling black people why they should vote for him again is because, by the way, Muammar Gaddafi is more black than any black minister we got.
Yeah.
And to say that the trumpet that this black man killed another black man whose only dream his entire time
self-preservation for his people,
for self-preservation for his entire continent. He dreamt to have a USA, United States of Africa. And I have black people on Facebook when they killed him talking about good for Obama, such the man, he killed Muammar Gaddafi. And I'm saying, you silly rabbits.
Yeah.
You Negroes just started following politics in 2008, so you have no clue what's going on. And now you're happy that this black man killed another black man. It was nothing short of Crips versus Bloods, really,
Yeah.
when it breaks down to it. Really was nothing short of a gang hit. By one guy, like you said, being supporting the hypocrisy. But what do you think we can do? Do we turn to religion, or do you do like me? You become a cynic. You read your Bible. When you get in trouble, you drop to your knees. When things are going good, you're like, hey, I did it all on my own. I mean, what do we do as a people to save ourselves, if you will?
You have to.
Go ahead. Yeah, I agree. It's time. You know, we're in a desperate situation to call for desperate measures. At this point, I think that people need to sit down and listen. I tell people, everybody has an agenda, even myself. You got to look at what agenda fits what it is you're trying to do at this point. If we're trying to get ourselves to self-preservation, and we got to look at ministers that's actually speaking and living what they're teaching. You know, I teach my members. If you know that I'm teaching you about a freedom of life from the book, a better life from the book. If I'm not living it myself and demonstrating my conversation and my action and my reaction, my behavior, why would you follow me?
Do you have a big house and drive a fancy car?
I have a nice size house and my car is
But you
not
work.
new.
You have a job.
I did due to blood pressure, the health issue. I had my own truck, restaurant. I did multiple things in the
Gotcha.
church. I started the church in my living room.
Gotcha.
Matter of fact, 10 years this Saturday make 10 years. So it's
Gonna
about
be a special
150
celebration?
now. Yeah, we'll have dinner, sound, and eat.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Can you tell people? Can everybody come?
Yeah,
Are
the
we
Way
all
of God,
invited?
Church of the Lord Jesus. Yeah, we sitting out, we having dinner, you know, fellowship and
Free
just
food, I'm
that.
in.
Free food, yeah. Free food ain't hard to get in it, yeah. But we definitely, you know, we do that
Well,
anyway.
congratulations.
I appreciate it. I
Congratulations.
appreciate it. Without selling out, without compromising, without being caught up in any scandals or whatever. So, I thank the Lord for that. And I got great ministers, not only with Minister Boss, I got other great ministers that work with me, great quorum of ministers, and I appreciate them, you know, living their life. And I got a lot of young people, believe it or not, because I'm saying something that's different. And I come out, I'll use the N-word. I call myself Jesus. Look, I tell them I give it to you straight, no chaser. Our people in such a detriment or dire need of somebody to be an example and tell them the real truth. Put the facts on the table and let the people see it.
Right.
And that's something.
But
that's
do our
never
people
happened.
want to see the truth? Because Tommy and I, Tommy's a little quieter than normal today, and I'm mad at him for that. But 'cause I know he got thousands of questions. But I mean, we sit here every day and we try and tell people, and there's a small handful of people. It's like. I talk about Reverend Sharpton. I give you the facts.
Yeah.
I give you the facts. Here's a man that has never, Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson's one thing that he ever really accomplished was bringing that brother home from Libya.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he's
CIA
ever.
help.
Right.
CIA
But that's the
help.
one thing Jesse Jackson's ever done. Al Sharpton, when you look at these things, no cop has ever gone to jail when Al Sharpton has entered into a fray, with the exception of Katherine Johnson's cops. But that was city of Atlanta, a whole black-run town. It would have been impossible to keep those cops out of jail. Not only that, if you truly believe the country's racist, understand that the majority of those cops were black.
Yeah.
So of course they were going to go to jail.
Exactly.
So these guys have never done anything successful for people, yet when you tell them that, when you tell people that, you're an Uncle Tom. Oh, you're a Republican, what do you know? Oh, you're a conservative, what do you know? Oh, you're a sellout. Oh, you hate your people. You don't like women. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? You're just everything, but you're pointing up these people are totally inept. And just with a bad case of erectile dysfunction because they can't get their people to do anything or to work for their people. You sit there. So how do you get people to hear the truth and respond to the truth and move forward on the truth?
Well, there again is back into the indoctrination from television, back to these so-called Negro spiritual leaders that we got that's basically coming along. You got other preachers that's endorsing Al Sharpton. So when these people come along and these pastors who's gotten the trust of these people say that Al Sharpton is doing something for our people, when he charging approximately I think $40,000 to come in anywhere to speak, they're not going anywhere for free. They're going to be paid flights and everything. People say they ought to be paid, but it's not from the heart of what I don't have a problem with giving money to them, but what about what's from the heart and real? You never finish anything. You went into Gina 6 and the people worse off. Everywhere they went, they only caused more mess and havoc, and it looks like they're doing something.
Right.
Every one of them got a Dr. King.
Has
story.
anybody heard about Trayvon Martin case? Have you heard about the Trayvon Martin case?
I talk about it. They done.
I
They
follow
got their
it.
money.
I follow it week by week. They about on week 44 now.
I've not heard about it at all on Reverend. I watch Politics Nation every day. I've not heard about it, but I do notice that he's got a fatter gold watch on his wrist than he had when he first started that show. And I'm not, and let me say this, I'm not against these guys. What I'm against, like you said, I'm not anti-white. I got some white friends that I will really literally do anything for because they have already shown me that they've done anything for me. So I'm not against white folks at all. I mean, hell, I got some white folks that I love more than I love some Negroes I know or don't know. Yeah. But I will tell you this though, I don't like these guys because they have over a 40-year period, them and their ilk have done major catastrophic damage to my people.
I agree.
And if I'm nothing else, I love my people, and I've watched it I've watched it in my lifetime, just paying attention from when I was a teenager to now. I've watched them do catastrophic damage to my people. When you tell a people that they're victims and you teach them a victimhood mentality, nobody listens. If we truly believe that when our internet goes out that somebody pulled the plug and we live our life like that, we would never do the show. We would never come in here and do the show because we'd always believe they're after us. And you've trained 2 or 3 generations of people to believe that there's a they out there that's against you. Why would a child wake up and go to school if he believes because of the color of his skin he's going to be attacked and put in jail? Not because he's selling dope, because of the color of his skin. You've trained him to believe that. You're a young black man, they're out to get you. Oh, well then, what the hell? What do I need to go to work for? Why I need to get straight A's? This will never change. So there's no reason for me to think nothing else except to go shoot, kill, and destroy, because of the color of my skin will always get me in trouble no matter how good I become. And these little examples you show me of successful black people, oh, they're minor. They're small. And when I look at these 2 guys on the screen and talking, I know they pimps because I'm familiar with the pimp mentality. I'm familiar with the hustle mentality. So I know what they're doing. I know they're full of shit. Excuse my language. Yeah. All your religious people that tuned in.
Yeah, well, they're good long as they don't hear us say it.
Right. But so again, how can we, because your message, is strong. I believe our message is strong. I believe there's a lot of us out there that have come to the conclusion that our people need help and want to help. How do we get them to recognize the truth? How do we get them to see what's going on?
Well, I think through what you're doing, Shelly, as well as with my 2 cent show, with talking and people getting the information out there where people can listen. Because first of all, people got to kind of be able to sit down and distinguish where it's true. There's got to be a middle ground. And for our people, everything that we know, like if they say you're a house nigga, that's been defined by who? See, all our definition for what we call sellout and come has been defined by
somebody
our
else.
oppressor.
Right.
Now, one thing
our
I
heroes
said,
have been defined by our oppressor.
Exactly. And just like when you were saying about teaching our kids about that they're out to get them. Now, in that sense, I'm kind of in agreement that there are. But what we have to teach our children is how to avoid these situations. The system is not somebody, a white man, is going to follow you around and do that, but you're in a system. If you get into school system and you don't learn to take advantage, if the parents are not aggressive or making sure and watching and monitoring what their kids learning, you're going to fall in that system.
Someone said up here about you, somebody asked, would I endorse Pastor Smith to address the group as State of Black America? I absolutely would. And as I endorse you, I need to endorse myself too, because whenever they have
endorse you back.
Yeah, whenever they have conservatives, black conservatives up there, they're weak.
Yeah.
They can't defend they stand up there and they get one boo from the audience when they say something, and now they shut down. You know what I mean? But there was a guy, and I can't remember if y'all remember a couple years ago when Tavis invited the president, he didn't show up. There is a lady, I believe, I can't remember her name, somebody's listening that does know, but there's a lady who was on there just like you, but not religious.
I got you.
But she was live, and I don't know if you remember the one Aaron Magruder was on. Aaron Magruder started the Boondocks.
Okay.
And he went in on Bob Johnson, who was sitting right next to him on BET, talking about how he's destroying his people.
Yeah.
And they shut him down. They never went back to him.
Yeah.
Never went back to him after that. But yeah, I would definitely endorse you. But I think, forget their events.
Set our own events.
Yeah, man.
I agree.
Yeah, the State of Black America is such. How you going to have State of Black America have obesity in the number 1 disease in the African American community that's sponsored by McDonald's? Wells Fargo was a sponsor of State of Black America years ago, and they were raping the black community in foreclosures.
And they just sat around and they got to sell out the federal government, making them sell out on bad mortgages. And settled out on pennies, literally half a cent on a dollar. They settled for. I was at an event. Let me be careful at this point. I was at an event this weekend, and Wells Fargo was a sponsor, and they all clapped. And I'm sitting there, there's a bunch of black people. Probably 50% of them know somebody that got a bad mortgage from Wells Fargo. And they're here clapping because they handed some nickels to an organization to have what amounts to a huge party. But
and it's just crazy to me. And I'm sitting there looking around at my table. I'm like this. And I'm like, you know what I mean? What is wrong with you people?
Well, you look at the most
You don't even see a dime of that money. You know what I mean? And you had to buy a ticket to go eat.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not mentioning no names because
But think about the most effective rat trap. You put food on them. So to trap people in, you got to put a little something in order to get them to kill them. And it makes it look like you're proactive. Wachovia, all these people involved in slave trade, CS Railroad, all these people, and they walked in and they never paid out. They just said they apologized. You got American General Insurance. They insured slaves. These people still existing today.
Right. Let me tell you another one. Hazel Dukes, which, okay, if you're in the business of helping people and you're with an organization as venerable as NAACP, venerable 40s plus, 40s forward, you've done nothing. And Hazel Dukes has been the leader of the NAACP chapter in New York City, which is the largest one because it's New York, for almost 30 years. This woman has been the head of this organization for 30 years. She has made this a job. At a certain point, you don't care about black people. You care about the job. And she was on CNN. You know, in New York, they have a law that Bloomberg passed. Can't sell big sugary drinks.
Okay.
I'm against it because I don't think the government should be involved in that kind of thing. But I understand what you're trying to do. People are obese. People are sick. It's costing you a lot of health care because people don't have insurance. I understand. I'm not agreeing with it, but I understand where it's coming from. She goes on CNN. And they wrote a brief supporting the American Beverage Association's lawsuit against this law. Now, here's the NAACP fighter for black people. Black people have the highest incidences of obesity in the country due to our diet and poverty and not eating the right foods, as you talk about your poem with the McDonald's. And she's on here defending it. Black man's interviewing her. I thought they were going to go easy on her. This man simply said, Miss Dukes, does the $200,000 you guys get from Coca-Cola every year have anything to do with this? And she goes into, we get that from the foundation. First of all, come on, woman, do you think you may be old and stupid, but we're not old and stupid. The foundation is Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
One. Number two, then she says they give scholarship money, they do good things, they do this. That's not the question he asked you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what she was saying was that this law would hurt convenience stores and mom and pops. Yet, you take money from Walmart every single year all across the country that does irreparable harm to small businesses and black businesses in black neighborhoods. Yeah. And I don't know one convenience store that sells fountain drinks. I don't know them.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They sell bottle because the fountain is too hard to make up. And if you're in a convenience store in a black community or Hispanic community and it's largely poor in New York and it's high crime, niggas is running in and out of there with your cups. Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. They run it in, get water, they run it right out before you can get from behind your partition. So, you know, I mean, but it was just, it sickens me, man. And what sickens me is these people are heroes.
Yeah.
I love Martin Luther King. I love Dr. Martin Luther King. I think what he does was courageous. I think the man was a great man. But you can't tell me that I should revere this man forever when you're the one who's telling me he's a hero.
I agree.
You know, the person who's in charge, who had me his foot on my neck, told me, hey, guy, this is the guy you need to revere. We're going to give him a holiday. We're going to give him streets all across the country. Oh, it just so happens to be the one guy that told us not to fight back. The one guy. Yeah. Now, who wouldn't do that? If I'm the white man, of course it's a guy I'm going to hold up. Hey, niggas, listen to this guy.
Yeah.
He's saying don't fight back. And don't listen to this guy. He's a radical. He's crazy. He's red-haired. He's crazy. He's only from one part of the country. He's telling you, you get slapped, slap him back.
Exactly.
But no, we don't want to listen to him. You know. I mean, I'm sorry. Martin Luther King birthday, I look at it as another day. As a day they gave me off. I'm off that day. Cool. Good.
Everybody don't have that day off though.
No, everybody doesn't. It's sad because everybody should have that day off to contemplate and think about who we are actually celebrating. We're actually celebrating a pacifist who told us to turn the other cheek from a people who spent 300 years burning us, ripping us apart, feeding us to dogs, and it treated us like animals. And we're saying, hey, in order to get equality, I'm going to turn the other cheek and be a pacifist. It's the quickest way.
And he never taught us to become self-sufficient. He taught us not to ride his bus till he let us get a better seat on the bus to pay him and still be treated like a nigga.
Right.
He taught
not
us
to start your own bus company.
Or start our own restaurant. Make him let us come inside and sit with whites at the can and still pay people that spit in our food. You don't change their heart by saying, let me sit at the counter by you. That just make me spit in your food and do whatever. That doesn't change anything.
Doesn't change it. You can't legislate morality.
and they give us our definition of who's hero, like you're saying. Shell, I 100%. We need to start this state of black confusion, what we need to call it. We're a state of black confusion. We're in confusion. Our people don't know. There's no direction. There are a lot of things people will agree with us on. There are a lot of things people will fight against for their simple love, how we've been taught and programmed, just like the Pledge of Allegiance. Nobody questions. You say I pledge an allegiance to the flag, to the republic. So you understand that you say it's a democracy. You just say it's a law. It's a rule of law. So the law said you can marry same sex. Law said you can adopt. So now they get you on hypocrisy because you said you pledge an allegiance to it.
Right.
So you do agree with homosexual, but it's just stuff that we recite that we don't ever think about. And that's part of our indoctrination.
We're right now seeing our people fight for an immigration bill, which I'm totally and adamantly against. We're about to legalize 11 million people. Many of them Caribbean, many of them Hispanic, but the vast majority of them are Mexican. Let's be completely honest. And these people are going to be here, come here and be legalized. They're not, as I posted on Facebook, they're not going to still work on farms. They work on the farms. They stand at Home Depot now waiting for work because they're legal. So that's the only work I can get. I got to wait for somebody to pick me. The farm job I got to take because the farmer's going to hire me. He don't care if I have a Social Security card. Once I'm a legal citizen, I don't need to do that work anymore. I'm going to now go to McDonald's and fill out an application and start in as a fryer. Who's not going to knock out? My black women. I'm going to go into security company and I'm going to try and get hired as a security guard. I'm documented now. I don't need to work in the shadows, but I don't need to work bust my tail jobs. So what's going to happen is that I'm telling y'all right now that we're fighting for our own demise, and our leaderships who are only in bed with the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party needs these votes, and it's going to be the end of us. It absolutely positively is going to be the end of black people in this country work-wise. I believe that unemployment within the next 5 years will go up to about 25-30%. And that's just of the people that will be staying in the system. You talk about an underground economy in the black community now, watch 5 years from now. You're going to have massive criminality going on in the black community due to lack of entry-level, easy, hotel-type jobs. Those are the jobs, we would do those jobs. Yeah. But then we won't need to do that. They won't be hiring us to do those jobs, and Juancito will and his children will take those jobs. And I'm telling you, man, it's headed for that. There's going to be a time in our community, if black people don't get it straight, and this is no conspiracy theory, where we're going to make up the dominant people in all the jails across the country, and we're going to be slaves again. But it won't be because of the color of our skin. Because many of these immigrants that are Hispanic heritage are darker than us. It won't be because of the color of our skin. It was because we did not prepare ourselves and we followed people who led us down this path for gold, for silver, really. So we need to have our own event, I think.
I totally agree. So that we try.
And Tommy does poetry. He can perform.
Yeah, he can do poetry. Let's hear something. No, please don't say roses are red, violets are blue.
No, that's why I love him. If he did that, he wouldn't be my man. Now, they all got people that do that kind of poetry. Yeah. I don't like them. Tommy has to support him because it's the community. But Tommy does. He just he's got some social. Really, the man's a genius. He really is. You can't tell today for some reason. You got any questions, man?
I'm good. You handled it.
Got Bostic, he been on quiet.
These guys got shy all of a sudden. Yeah. But what you got coming up besides the 10th anniversary?
We're waiting. We're getting ready to do. We observe as Jews. Our calendar is different than what America keep. They keep what's known as a Gregorian calendar. We keep a lunar calendar, which means from the Bible. If you read Genesis, the 2nd chapter, I gave you the moon and the sun for seasons. So we're getting ready to come up on our new year about toward the end of March. So we observe our time that the Lord gave us. We also looking, hopefully in a couple of years, be moving back to Jerusalem. Move back to our motherland, our homeland. He more or less kind of just told us to go to Africa. We go back to Africa. Where Africa? We don't have a specific place. Just like you go to Atlanta, where or any other state. So our goal is really trying to prepare to go back, to get out of this cruel place. I've been asking our people for a while. We've been here. We've done what we could do for these people. We, like the Mexican, he jump on a lawnmower, cut one grass. He the best thing. Who planted the grass before he got here? Every building, that construction, who put these buildings before they got here? And it's nothing against them. It's just a mere fact. I'm just tired of our people being dominated and being demonized on every fact and every avenue. It's time for us to pack up and say, you got to know when enough is enough. Even their own great white country singer, Ken Kenny Rogers, he got know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. It's time for us to run. We got to start doing self-preservation for our people. We got to establish our own states, and for care for. And it's nothing. Every other nation does. It's not a problem. When the natives say they're doing it, everybody say, "Wow, that's natural. This their native land.
Right.
I can understand. Get them free license, whatever." We've sat here, we invented, we care. We don't have a permanent right to vote. We have a black man sitting in the highest seat in the land without a permanent right to vote. This is a downright disgrace. And we're talking about
You're
legalizing.
talking about the voting rights law that has to be reauthorized every 25 years.
And the part that hurts you is the mere fact, just like when we was talking about how they program every black loves Bill Clinton, we love JFK. There's not one black issue they ever supported or done. Lyndon Baines Johnson gave us the Voting Rights Act. Lyndon Baines Johnson got our people across Selma Bridge when they marched. Nobody talks about that because they program you not to like certain people. If that don't show you the danger and detriment in learning and getting your heroes from him. Jesse James, Billy the Kid, these were murdering bank robbers.
Right.
When I was a little kid, you got guns, who you want to be?
Jesse James.
You know what I'm saying? Nat Turner, nobody talks about it. So we're in bad shape as a people. I'm definitely in collaboration on anything we can do to get our people and sit them down and inform them, to get them just to sit down and realize if we got a first right, there is a problem. It's just like with rehab. If you come in and you say it's not a problem, first thing I ask you to do is leave. Come
Right.
back when you realize you got a problem.
Exactly.
When we address the problem, we know what the problem is, then let's address the problem.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Tommy calls it a cultural reboot. Not an economical reboot, a cultural reboot. We talk about our schools. I had our leaderships talking about our schools as a new civil right, good education. Yet when the charter school bill comes around, because of the Republicans putting it forth, they want to tell us not to vote for it. It's going to resegregate the schools. Last I checked, you go into any school in the hood, it's all black. Going to any school in the suburbs is going to be all white. School's already segregated.
Exactly.
Because people live where they live, So I think we should get on this soon, man. I really do. Because, and it's got to be more than talk. It's got to be something where, we bring people together over economics, opportunities to make money together, and that kind of stuff, where we saving lives. Huh?
No more marching.
No more marching.
All the time.
No, we don't need a march, and we don't need, and quite honestly, we don't need another state of Black America where a bunch of Negroes get up there and pontificate and then go home in a limousine. We really need actionable things where we come together and we say, okay, here's a business you want to put into this business. We're gonna open up a retail or a grocery store right over here. There's not one black-owned grocery store in a black community in Atlanta, Georgia.
We attempted to try to do something like that, Shelley. Matter of fact, you brought up, we asked people to support, send in. We're trying to put up something like our own dentistry, stuff that we need. A lot of times we're big about going in food industry, getting viable businesses. I mean, that's, bad teeth can abscess can run to death, other issues. Putting where we can get our kids to go in the medical field to try to work and try to get people on our interests. Try to give our kids something. Wing shop, barbershop, beauty salon. I mean, they're needful, but we'll put 2 and 3 right beside each other, and they're going to basically cancel each other out, opposed to spreading them out, put them in other neighborhoods as well. I mean, everybody come in our neighborhood. The Asians come do our black women nail, do their feet and everybody else, but you're not going to do no Asian nail. They're not going to let you do
heck
them.
no.
You're not selling them any wings, and you're not selling no Chinese food.
No.
You're not going to sell. I mean, the Asians now, they selling soul food.
Yeah.
If this ain't retarded,
Right.
that's
Right.
No white's gonna come buy blonde hair from me. It just ain't gonna happen.
Right.
They're not gonna buy no Pearl shampoo, no Rain, none of that stuff. They're not buying it. They're not gonna buy it from me. Why can't we set up and start getting things that we need, getting viable businesses that get our kids, in a field to get them to going? Because healthcare field is gonna eventually.
So what you guys gonna open up?
Well, we were looking at trying to open up a dentist. We asked people doing it. Again, some of our people need, trying to get changed where we can employ
What
our
happened?
people. Well, people sent some monies in and people died. People just don't really see us doing anything because of the oppression they had so long. They just can't actually see themselves doing anything. If it's a wing shop, barber shop, or go wash 5 cars. This man got machines out here, and then you run them through, wash the car for $3.
Right.
Shoot out free vacuum and gone. Somebody's gonna pay $15 so you can employ this man or somebody else, and he can get benefits, insurance, so you can grow. Blacks are afraid of other blacks getting money, riding, looking better than when the white man got it. It's just natural.
Right.
He deserves it.
But you know what? When we was talking on that subject, they said Harriet Tubman quoted, she freed 1,000 slaves, but she could have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. So a lot of times people have that mentality to where I'm good where I'm at. I don't wanna go nowhere. And being the subject you had before, I mean, I just like listening to stuff like that. I'm a listener. But what you said before about people in position and about why we in the position we are, I just feel that we as a culture, we as a people, we stray away from the Bible, we stray away from religion. It was just kind of out of repetition. You got up to go to church. You know, Sunday morning, it's just time you go to church. You club Saturday night. My mom had a rule. I mean, we had a rule to where if you went out Saturday night, you had to go to church on Sunday, no matter what. And just seeing a lot of preachers that's kind of hypocrite in the society, and it just getting back to the Bible and getting back, because in 2 Chronicles chapter 7 at verse 14 it said, "If my people humble themselves and seek my face, and pray, and I'll heal the land." So the reason why we in the situation we in now, because we're not seeking God. A lot of people they pray, and we look at people in society like Al Sharpton, like Jesse Jackson. These people that we say are saved, these people are not saved. We look at Ray Lewis, he's saved, he not saved. Tim Tebow, he's saved. And a lot of things, and a lot of times, people say, well, the preacher should have this. There's no Bible saying the preacher can't have a Rolls Royce or can't have a big house. But the thing is, when you look at their behavior, some things they're doing is not biblical. And that's one reason why, we like to get back to the Bible, to showing that it's not about some things, the outside. It's some things that they do, showing that they're not saved. So until we come together as a people and understand that we are the true people of the Most High God and live in a better life, this place is always be this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Tell everybody where the church is located and where they can visit.
Give them the website. The easiest way to find us, go to www.thewayofgodchurch.com. You can watch us live 3 times a week. Click on our live streaming. That's the wayofgodchurch.com. It's got our contact information, how to call, email, and how you can find out.
And it's a physical location.
Yeah,
people
physical
can
location.
And when is services?
Saturday, Friday night at 8 o'clock. Saturday at 1:30 p.m. And also on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So we have service tonight at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And don't forget, I'm Jesus Looker, straight no chaser.
Thank you guys for coming.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ugly Truth with Trayvon Martin and Shelley Winter.